The Intercept has an article out on Paul Ryan, and he may now take the cake for the most soulless sellout in Washington. Ooh, and he has some competition, as all of you know very well. So it says, Paul Ryan raised $657,000 while avoiding his constituents during recess. How do you do that? I mean, that's so fucking brazen. Like, they're supposed to take the time, okay, town halls, open meetings, ask me what you want. You're my boss. The people, you're my boss. You know, you vote for me, and I'm supposed to go to Washington and do your bidding. He didn't give them any time. No time. He just went directly to, corporations and billionaires and said, you want a smooth hand job behind the dumpster, daddy? I'll do whatever you want. So, listen to the specifics. They say House Speaker Paul Ryan snubbed his Wisconsin constituents during the President's Day congressional recess, refusing to hold even a single town hall. Local activists appeared at his office in Racine to demand a meeting. Others placed a tongue-in-cheek missing person advertisement on Craigslist, asking for the whereabouts of their elected representative. Ryan fled sometime in and around January 20th, 2017, and hasn't been seen since, the ad stated. Newly filed campaign filings show what Ryan was doing instead, jetting around the country, raking in a whopping $657,400 in contributions in just 9 days. 9 days, Jesus. Several donors made 5- and 6-figure contributions during the recess to Team Ryan, including Paul Foster, the chairman of Western Refining, who gave $100,000, Jerome Fallick, hilarious last name, an executive who runs Duty Free Americas, and 6 members of his family each gave between $10,000 and $15,000. In the first 3 months of the year, Ryan's joint fundraising committee brought in an astounding $17 million in contributions. Ryan's affiliated super PAC, the Congressional Leadership Fund, also raised about $4.5 million during that same period. The CLF account, which can accept unlimited contributions from virtually any source, was buoyed by large checks from major corporations. The GEO Group, the Florida-based private prison company, gave $100,000, and Chevron gave $250,000. Okay, Paul Ryan is everything that is wrong with politics. Everything that's wrong. 100% snub your constituents, go and suck up to corporations and billionaires so that they give you money, and priorities are exactly backwards from what they should be. You should care first and foremost, and in fact, only about your constituents, and money, you shouldn't even factor into it. But this shows you, and it's not just, this is the most important point, guys, it's not just with his actions here. It's with his voting record that this comes out. Take, for example, the failed healthcare bill, the Obamacare replacement. Some people called it Ryan Care, some people called it Trump Care. I believe the official name was the American Health Care Act. Ryan was the primary author of that, or at least his staff and his people were the primary authors of that. And he pushed it more than anybody else. When you look at the details of that bill, you can see exactly where his allegiance lies. Because when you look at the impact on actual human beings, it's a disaster through and through. I mean, the bill guts Medicaid $880 billion. It raises the uninsured rate from 10%, which is what it would be under Obamacare, to 19%. You're talking about a tax cut for the rich of about $600 billion, and that goes specifically to the ultra-rich. So when you look at the actual facts, according to the nonpartisan CBO, it's not a question as to whether or not this bill is a good thing. It would just be an utter disaster for the average American. It's not even close. Well, so then you go, well, okay, then who is this bill for? You dig a little deeper, you find out that, for example, one of the provisions is if you happen to go, I think it's over 3 months without health insurance, what happens is when you sign up again, the health insurance companies can charge you a surcharge of up to 30%. So think about it. You want to talk about an individual mandate. Under Obamacare, the individual mandate had no teeth. There was no enforcement mechanism with the government. Here, this is a real individual mandate where it's a corporatocracy and the corporations make out like bandits if you happen to not have health insurance for, a few months. I mean, isn't that crazy? So they're going to price gouge the people who probably need to save the money the most because they just went without health care for a little bit. Because why all Paul Ryan cares about, those are the provisions he cares about. He cares about making more money for big pharma, making more money for health insurance companies, making more money for health care companies. I mean, this is how sick the system is. Now, furthermore, look at the exact examples they give here. The GEO Group. That's a private prison company. That company has a record, just endless accounts of, horrific conditions at their prisons. I think we covered a story about 2 years ago or so, how their food was rotting, but they served it anyway, and there was a rat problem, and they pay the security guards shit, so the security guards are untrained, so they don't do a good job, and look, when you have a private prison company, what's going to happen? The lobbyists are going to lobby the politicians to make more things illegal, to lock people up for a longer amount of time and lock up more people because they make more money the more people are locked up. It's just a basic incentive problem. So Paul Ryan's taking, are you serious, $100,000 from the GEO Group? Well, who's he not going to care about in any way? He's not going to care about prisoners. He's not going to be really interested in what things should and shouldn't be illegal based on merit and based on logic and based on justice. He's going to do whatever the private prison companies want. And it's private prison companies, for example, that gave us 3 strikes laws, where they say, hey, 3 felonies, no matter how minor, we're going to lock you up for life. That's a crazy idea that nobody would be in favor. I mean, if you're talking about the lowest level nonviolent thing, but they're going to lock you up after 3 offenses, well, that's crazy. You're going to lock somebody up for life for nonviolent things? That only makes sense if the incentive structure is wrong, and that's what it is. So you have private prison companies paying Paul Ryan. Paul Ryan does their bidding. Chevron. Wow, what a surprise. Virtually the entire Republican Party denies the reality of climate science. And they say, blah, 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 nothing to see here. There's no reason to crack down on fossil fuels. Don't you dare crack down on fossil fuels and move towards green technology, move towards renewable energy, move towards a New Deal. Don't you dare do that, because that would cut into the profits of my donors. I mean, because climate science is incorrect. It is the opposite. There is no climate change happening. Are you buying what I am saying? No, we're not buying what you're saying. You're a joke, Paul Ryan. You're a joke, and your whole existence is to sell out to these corporations and billionaires. And this is, this is proof of it. You're going to be on a break, which, by the way, of course, laugh along with me here, because how many days of the year? I mean, the number of days Congress works is like comical. The amount of time they have off, anybody would want the amount of time off that Congress has. But so when they're supposed to be doing town halls, talking to constituents, hearing out their concerns, trying to come up with better ways to fix stuff for the people, their fucking job to represent people, he says, no, I'm going to represent who I actually represent. Gimme the money. Corporations, billionaires, private prison companies, oil companies, everybody, gimme, and then I'll represent you. But we need this populist left wave. That's what we need. Because the right, even the so-called populist right, they're charlatans. They don't really believe it. They're not really in favor of populist policies. So they're a fraud. The corporate Democrats are a fraud, because they're also sellouts. They might sprinkle in the proper policy here and there on social issues. Hey, we're pro-choice. We don't hate gay people. Wow! What a low bar, but oh, you're so brave, aren't you? But anyway, let me go ahead and do Wall Street's bidding. No. We need the populist left to take over in the country. That's Justice Democrats. Go to justicedemocrats.com, read our platform, see what we're about, sign your name in support of the movement, help out however you can. We're running candidates, man. It's happening right now, and guess what? We're going to be successful. Now, it might not happen immediately, but give it time. Give it time, because we just saw it happen in Kansas. So you had a seat that is in one of the deepest red districts in the country. Should have been a shoo-in for a Republican candidate. Guess what? A Bernie Sanders-style Democrat almost won. He almost won because he said, we're only going to raise money from the grassroots. We're for a living wage. We're for single payer. This is in the deepest red part of the country. And people went, oh, whoa, wait. Medicare for all? Are you really talking about that? Living wage? We're really talking about that? Okay, let's go out and vote for him. So the Republicans are scared shitless as a result of that. And the more we run candidates like that, the more we get the word out, the more we raise awareness, the more we're crystal clear about what we believe and what we're going to fight for, the more we're going to win. Because with these facts about Paul Ryan, here's the thing. He has a giant institutional advantage because of the gargantuan amounts of money that he raised. He gets to, release more misleading ads and lie about how great he is and about how shitty his opponent is. But I'm optimistic that if people really know what's happening, they know all the nooks and crannies, and they know how the sausage is made, where they go, oh, so you snubbed all your constituents to sell out? If you frame it like that, because that is what it is, well, then people are going to go, yeah, fuck them. All the money in the world cannot divert my attention enough or make me take my eye off the ball because I see now you're as bad as it gets. So if we hammer away on the cancer that is money in politics and show how corrupt they are, of course we're going to win in due time. And this doesn't just apply to Paul Ryan, who's probably the worst offender, but this also applies to corporate Democrats. Corporate Democrats who might talk a good game, but then end up like Cory Booker, raises a tremendous amount of money from Wall Street, raised so much money from Big Pharma as he voted to protect them. Well, yeah, we're going to call him out too, and we're going to get rid of him because we're principled and we actually care about the issues and we care about having politicians who aren't sellouts. So I'm optimistic in the long term because we hammer away, we point out the facts, and then we win. And with facts like this, that day might be sooner rather than later because this is so in your face and gross that almost everybody can recognize it once you show it to them.